Bantamweight kickboxers don't often come around as tall as Nabil Anane, and if they do, they usually have a real problem using their height and reach effectively. But that doesn't seem to be an issue for this guy. At 21 years old, he's already a world champion, and it's obvious the best is yet to come. Born in Thailand to a Thai mother and a father of Algerian and French descent, Anan is a melting pot of several fighting cultures, and a man who's ready to take over the entire sport. This is what happens when perfect genes and a natural aptitude for striking meet. And the truly terrifying thing is he's only going to get better and better. This is Nabil Anane, and the story of how he overcame one embarrassing loss to eventually become one of the sport's youngest world champions. 𝐬𝐮𝐞𝐭 is the first opponent we'll cover here. And like most fights, including Nabil Anane, you'll get a sense for just how much his opponents tend to fear his striking, and how difficult it can be for them to get a read on the distance between them. This bout took place in 2023, when Anan was still waiting for his 19th birthday. But he's very clearly not fighting like an inexperienced youngster, and as the bout wore on, it became clear it was only going to go one way. But in the end, while he didn't get the knockout, that didn't mean his performance was any less impressive. Anan was still a work in progress, sure, but his technical talents far exceeded his experience in the game.
WBC Muay Thai lightweight world champion in the blue corner, Nabil Muay Thai.
You guys want to see what this kid can really do, right? Well, let's take a look at this showdown with Anan for the WBC Muay Thai featherweight world title. Because for the still evolving Nabil Anane, this was a chance to prove he was ready for the big time. Just look at that height and reach advantage. His opponent is genuinely confused by how to deal with him. If you thought that the pressure of the occasion would get to him, think again. Anan would not leave it to the judges this time. Deciding to trust his killer instincts, charging in for the finish, unwilling to take no for an answer. Yet another dominant display, but his momentum would have to take an almighty hit before he truly reached his potential. In order to become truly great, a fighter needs to overcome adversity.
It's ready to go down.
And for Nabil, getting matched up with one of the greatest fighters of his generation was a challenge he happily accepted. But that didn't mean that this prospect was guaranteed to be ready. And in there with Superlek, his worst dreams came through.
Superlek!
ทุกอย่างที่เป็นอาวุธขวาของเขาคือจัดจ้านยิ่งออกแข้งได้หนัก
It was very clear that this was a simple case of too much too soon for this very young fighter. It took Superlek less than 1 round to dust him off without even breaking a sweat. Well, remember this, folks, because these two fighters would eventually meet again. And Nabil Anane was about to begin a win streak that would capture the imagination of the entire fight world. Comeback season was underway for Nabil Anane, and just over 2 months after getting demolished by Superlek, he was ready to return to the ring and recapture some of his old momentum.
Go, double up, oh, double up, stop, kick,
Standing opposite him was knockrod Bearex. But little did his opponent know just how much of a chip Nabil would have on his shoulder.
Muay Thai and kickboxing record of 33-5. Anan!
This was a man who was determined to go out there and make an almighty statement. And when that first knockdown came, you better believe it lit a fire in Anan to find the finish. And it didn't take him long. Anan was not merely going out there to beat his opponent, he was on a demolition mission. And once he found his opening, he made sure that Bearex would not be getting up. This was the perfect response from this young talent, and proof that he would not lose again so easily.
Making a statement on One Friday Fights. Shut out the doubters and put on a...
Fight 1 of the comeback was officially in the books. Taking on an experienced former Lumpini champion like Muay Thai was always going to present some interesting challenges for Anan. Could he get his smaller opponent out of there quickly? Or would he be forced to dig deep and fight into the later rounds?
Now he's trying to do it. It might take him a little bit of time to go off this range. Nabil is so long. He's so
potentially giving the veteran an advantage. Well, despite the challenge that stood in front of him, Nabil would not be stopped. He utilized his full skill set, finding every possible opening and punishing Muay Thai frequently. He even scored a big knockdown, proving he could hurt his target. In the end, the veteran opponent did manage to make life difficult for Anan in the final round. But he held on, trusting his own experience.
Muay Thai trying to work his way back into this fight. After some... Nabil Anane, beautiful footwork. The trick time out marching forward.
And by the time the fight was done, youth officially prevailed. Next up for Nabil was 𝐾𝐿, a vicious Thai warrior with over 100 bouts in the ring behind him. And prior to a decision loss in the fight before, he'd finished 3 opponents in a row in the first round. Clearly, This was the type of test that could work out pretty badly for Anan if he wasn't fully prepared. 𝐽𝐿 was not going to make this easy for Anan, and once he managed to get inside, he made sure to punish his taller foe at every opportunity.
We must not forget, he also carries that technique with him.
Unfortunately, for as much as this was an admirable way to fight a killer like Nabil, it was a risky decision, make no mistake.
Showing a complete mixing in the knees and the incredible toughness. But Anan is on his feet, continuing to fight back. His uppercut through the middle from Anan as he was pulling up on the back foot now, up against the ropes. Relentless pressure from Nabil Anane.
But all this gritty fight made Nabil truly begin to wake up in the second round.
Warriors continue right where they the speed and the range.
And when he realized he could confidently take the power shots that were coming back at him, he mounted his own offense. And you could see just how instantaneous the results were. The first knockdown of the round was only a glimpse at what would eventually follow. With his opponent clearly rocked and dazed, the time had come for Nabil to show us one of his best finishes to date. 𝐽𝐿 experience was the only thing keeping him alive in this fight, and it would not keep him in there for much longer.
Clinch work, landing deep, knees looking to get up. Dropped up, going back to the 30 box.
This was the type of highlight reel finish that convinced the entire world that this kid was a rejuvenated force, and that maybe, just maybe, he was capable of avenging that embarrassing defeat to Superlek. But he would need one more win before his shot at redemption came. Nabil didn't just need to beat Nico Carrillo. He needed to go out there and make a statement, show the world that he was improved enough to make the idea of a Superlek rematch worthwhile. Luckily, that's exactly what he was prepared to do out there. This was a radically different version of Anan, confident with every shot he threw, measured with his offense, but still determined to put damage on his target. Carrillo looked utterly lost out there from the moment the first knockdown came, and each one was more brutal than the last. The crowd was very clearly enjoying this one. Anan was not willing to let this man survive the first round, and after two vicious knockdowns, he would need just one more to secure an automatic TKO. And, of course, being locked in a cage with Nabil Anane for even a matter of seconds can feel like an eternity. With that big finish in the bag, Nabil would finally earn his shot at redemption. And so it finally came, a rematch against one of the finest fighters of his generation. Would Nabil's progress allow him to close the gap on the living legend who stood before him? Or would he get another brutally embarrassing rude awakening? A sign that he still was not on Superlek's level. All of a sudden, Nabil sprung into action, proving he was truly a different beast this time around. And after scoring a knockdown on his opponent, Superlek only managed to get saved from an inevitable second knockdown by the lucky intervention of the ref at the end of the round. Once again, it was an end-of-round flurry that saw Anan steal the momentum. His shots were clearly coming with a lot more power than Superlek expected, and to say that they were having an effect would be an understatement. If you haven't noticed already, this fight was a true coming-of-age moment, and over the course of these rounds, Anan was proving he was truly a different man to the one who'd been beaten so easily by Superlek just under 3 years previously.
Canvas. Superlek stepped in on that one. Superlek looks
Redemption was achieved, and though he walked a hard road to get there was no doubt that this kid was one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the entire game. Now, at just 21 years old, we're not even going to see this guy's prime for another 5, 6, or even more years. Nabil Anane is one of the best in the business, a 6'3" athletic specimen who towers over his opponents in terms of size and skill. And with the one championship Bantamweight title around his waist, only time will tell just how far he can go. But what do you make of Nabil Anane's talent and potential? And who would you like to see him take on, either next or in the future? Let us know in the comments below.